Samarambam Nithyanandeshwari Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. इस समय हमारे साथ उपस्थित सभी दर्शकों और भक्तों का मैं प्रेम एवं आशीर्वाद सहित स्वागत करता हूँ. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, samajis, satsangis sitting with us all over the world through Nithyananda TV, Sadhana TV, Lotus News Channel and two-way video conferencing, having Nayana Diksha in 26 places in 21 countries around the world as per the statistics. Cities sitting with us in two-way video conferencing, Singapore, Hyderabad Guptakashi, Calgary Alberta, Hong Kong Sirgari, San Diego La Jolla, Indrani New Jersey, Enriching Temple, Biddi, Bogota Croatia, Dubai Vaidyanatham, East London UK, New York Varanasi, Mantari Kedarnath, Los Angeles Arunachalam, Guadalupe Rameshwaram, Ohio Prayag, Miracle Mile, California, San Jose Madurai, Charlotte Srisailam, Seattle Chidambaram, Houston Kalahasti, Toronto Kailasam, St. Louis Tirumala, Kuala Lumpur Parani, Oklahoma Somanatham, Paris Home Temple, Jorpati Nepal, University of Texas at Austin, Oman Sivagangai, Tiruvanmiyur, Bangalore North. I welcome all of you with my love and blessings. Today 20th batch Inner Awakening, 14th day. Wow, only 14th day. Because I am spending a lot of time with these guys, I feel like it's long time. Today the Inner Awakening is all about completion with your past life patterns. We will open your past life just to complete with it. See, past life memories can be opened for various purposes. To know the detail, to know some strange informations, or to have miracle powers. But today we will open your past life memories and past life just to lead you to completion. And 17th batch Ingenious, 19th batch Nirahara Samyama, 20th batch Nirahara Samyama, 9th batch Disamyama. Great. Today, Navaratri Brahmotsava, Venkateshwara, the Vishnu is gracing on Gajavahana, on golden elephant, is gracing us, and Devi Parashakti is doing Shakti Dandava, dancing. Devi is dancing today, doing the Ananda Dandava with Sri Devi and Saraswati. And Venkateshwara is gracing us on Swarna Gajavahana on this auspicious Navaratri Brahmotsava. We'll move to the satsang. Before that, my blessings for Satsangi Lakshmi Puja in Singapore. Blessings for you guys. And I also bless that Lakshmi's energy and presence will be there. Today Kumkum will materialize from my Padukas as the presence of Lakshmi. You guys will see by the time you complete the puja. If you have a Lakshmi deity, it will materialize on the deity. If you don't have the deity, it will materialize on my Paduka. My blessings. Great. And we'll move to the Nitya Satsang. Today I wanted to share very important truth with you all. I was meditating, contemplating what is the one important truth I need to share with people. Really helping them to enrich themselves and others. Kalabhairava revealed this one truth is enough. That is, you don't need to accept but stop resisting. Please understand. You don't need to accept but stop resisting. You may not accept but stop resisting. Whatever you resist in your life, the memory of resistance stops your Kundalini awakening. Kalabhairava revealed today early morning very beautifully to me. Usually that early morning time is the downloading time for me to teach. Everyday satsang, whatever subject I am talking, it happens in that early morning downloading. And thanks to this hand, early morning it doesn't allow me to sleep. It wakes me up. No pain, but it asks for my attention. And I was just sitting. I had only one question in my space contemplating. What is it that can make a human being enrich themselves and others? Kalabhairava revealed this is the foremost truth. He said this should be taught much more, with more importance, even prior to integrity authenticity. I was shocked, oh God. Please listen. For example, if you are resisting, if you are constantly afraid of a disease, I am not saying accept, like all right, if the disease comes, what can be done? No. Then you will trigger the fear and you will trigger another one pattern. If I am constantly meditating on this disease, it may come on me. You may trigger other complications. I am not saying accept. All I am saying is decide not to resist. Decide whenever the fear of that memory, that disease comes, you are not going to resist. Please listen. If you are afraid of poverty, I am not saying accept poverty. No. Accepting poverty is like going back in your life. No, I am not saying that. All I am trying to tell you is don't resist poverty. Whenever the thought of poverty happens in you, do not resist. I tell you, in India, these engineers, PWD fellows, Public Works Department fellows, who plan for roads, bridges, these fellows never visit the site. sitting in the office, in the AC, they see the map and finalize the plan and freeze it and approve it. Only the people who have to work on the ground, when they go there, they find suddenly a big hole in the place where the road has to happen. Now, because of that big hole, you cannot build road, you have to build only bridge. Otherwise, where they have put bridge, you will see a beautiful smooth land. You don't need to build a bridge there, you need a road. On the center of the road, some important monumental, protected archaeological monument temple will be standing. Do you know a very funny thing? These fellows have made a road exactly on our banyan tree. There is a law in this country, if any tree is more than 100 years old, you can't touch it. Then we will have to write to them, make them understand, make somebody come here and see, then they stopped it. Our tree was saved. No, it really happened, I think, in 2006. Please understand this example. With this example, I wanted you to understand a very important truth. How these guys don't go to the spot and decide the detail. Same way, how they sit inside the office itself in the air condition and finish all the decision from the beginning to end, they already see that they have a road and cars and vehicles are moving without even seeing the ground. Please listen, you have the same pattern of, without entering into the life, trying to have a sketch of a complete life, which is arrogance. Please understand, I am defining arrogance. Arrogance means, without getting to the ground reality of life, trying to have the whole sketch of life and forcing your life that it should accept your plan is arrogance. Listen, I am not saying you need to accept the life as it is. I am not even teaching you acceptance. Acceptance is one of the biggest mental triggering pattern. When I say accept poverty, the thousands of things will be triggered. Poverty, how can I accept? I cannot. I know the suffering and all the fears, everything related to poverty will be awakened in you. So that will be such a calamity. And so much of resistance from your very bioenergy, the very source of life will happen in you. You will never be able to accept. You can only fight with acceptance. I am just saying one word. Do not resist. That's all. When you don't resist, two things will happen. Immediately two things will happen in you. One, you will not judge. Second, you will not have negative or positive attachments. Please listen. This negative or positive attachment, if you are resisting poverty, you have a negative attachment with poverty, which is also dangerous. ध्यान से सुनिए. The negative attachment, tathata, easiness, does not mean acceptance. Tathata, easiness means no resistance. No resistance is not acceptance. English is such poor language. With that language you cannot teach life. But unfortunately, that is the easiest common language we have amongst you all and me. If I am given my independence, choice. I'll naturally choose Sanskrit as the first language to teach. If not, because no other way, English. Please listen. I'm not saying accept. For example, if you are afraid of jail, I'm not saying accept jail. No. I'm just saying drop the resistance you have. I tell you, most of your problems are because you sit in your AC room and decide to see the end. Just drop resistance. When you drop resistance, the judgment will drop and positive or negative attachments will drop. Please understand. Your negative attachments do more harm to you than your positive attachments. If you resist disease, you will be thinking about disease million times more than the objects with which you are attached. For example, if you are attached to your boyfriend or girlfriend and you resist disease, every day, whenever you remember your boyfriend or girlfriend, make a note in your cell phone, record. Whenever you remember about disease, record that. I challenge. What you resist, you will be remembering more number of times than what you are attached to. So negative attachment is more dangerous, takes away your energy more. Negative attachment is more difficult to break. This negative attachment stops your kundalini. Actually, I don't have enough of English words to translate this original concept of tatata, isness. Our language is such rich language. That is why these fellows, many of these guys in US, try to take all the Hindu ideas and map it into the Western mental frame. See, I wanted to make my stand very clear. I am all for teaching to the whole world. I am all for teaching to the whole world. But I am dead against stealing the concepts of the Vedic tradition and trying to digest it into a different framework and completely eradicate the impact of the source and destroy the impact of the source. And you know one funny thing, very important thing you need to know. I wanted to make this statement very clearly to all the people who try to have knowledge, spiritual knowledge through the Western framework. What they call, now newly many things have come, Christ yoga. Really, hot yoga means taking these ideas and trying to put in that, trying to map Hindu Dharma into the Western framework. They call different names like integral theories, integral, too many names they use. Trying to digest, please understand, I tell you, the Sanskrit language is such powerful language, you can never do this. Anybody tries to do it, you will only be failure. This word, tatata, the isness. See, the practice of the easiness is supposed to be no resistance, not acceptance. But even if you miss this single one small thing, if you see, when Upanishad says the easiness, tatata, when Buddha says easiness, tatata, all of you should know, as per Indian constitution, Buddhism, Sikhism, Jainism are branches of Hinduism, and I wanted this to continue the same way. I sincerely request, as Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akada, my Sikh brothers, please don't try to separate yourself from us. I heard in the parliament somebody brought a bill, independent bill, to separate Sikhs from Hindus. I sincerely request, we are brothers. You should know, your founding fathers created the Sikhism for the purpose of protecting Hinduism. We are brothers, let us stay together. I take this moment to send my sincere appeal to Sikhs not to feel alienated and not to ask for separate status or not to be separated from Hinduism. Let us stay together. That is good for both of us. Anyhow, when Buddha says tatata, please listen. When Buddha says tatata, the easiness, the next practicing step for the tatata is supposed to be non-resistance, not acceptance. But all these guys who try to map Hindu Dharma into the Western frame of mind will always jump into that side, because English is yes or no language. Sanskrit is yes, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, yes or no, yes, no, no, yes language. Understand? The easiness, tatata, has to be achieved. A Sanskrit scholar will never think acceptance is the path for easiness, because the language itself is such. It does not ask you to think with yes, no, yes or no. No. It gives you such vast possibility, such vast understanding. It is not yes or no language. Yes, no, yes, yes, no, 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 yes, yes, no, and no, 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 yes, 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 yes language. Understand? Please listen. The word Sanskrit means well done, refined. Whether it is a decision in your life or in your profession or in your career, leader is a man who makes decision without losing his options, who has and eats the cake, is leader. Leader is a man who makes the decisions without losing his options. And leader is a man who makes decisions. The decision does not reduce his choices, it multiplies his choices. The more he decides, more possibilities open in front of him. Follower is the man, by making decision, he loses his choices. He becomes more and more bound. I think many of you are not able to understand what I am saying, because you are taught only one side of life, If you decide, for example, you are standing on both legs. Now you have a freedom to lift one leg. So the moment you make the decision of lifting the right leg, now you are bound. You can't have a freedom to right the left leg also. You are taught only this logic. This is what you call as decision making. But a leader is a person who makes decisions only which gives him more and more choices and possibilities and freedom. If you are going to be stuck in the position that you will not have a freedom to raise the other leg also, don't even raise the first leg. The decision making, every decision should be made in such a way that you have more and more choices, possibilities opening in front of you, and the choices and possibilities you are retaining it. One more thing you need to know. Sanskrit is that kind of a language. The language where, listen, the language where the possibilities are continuously available, completely available. For example, if you want to make a statement with 10 words, even if you completed the 9th word, 10th word you have a freedom to change the meaning of the whole statement. Just the 10th word, you can change the meaning of the whole statement. You have a freedom. Till the last word you have a freedom. That is the power of this language. That is why it is called most refined language. Well done. Refined speech. That is why I sincerely request everyone, especially Westerners who wanted to learn spirituality, please come to the original source. I know, naturally you will feel little comfortable to learn from a person who has mapped the whole Hindu Dharma into these Western words. But you have a very big danger learning in that way. This word acceptance is that kind of one danger where you lose the whole life. Understand, easiness is the goal, no doubt. But non-resistance is the path, not acceptance. These two have a huge difference in their meaning. And all these people who map Hindu Dharma, the backpack gurus, sad gurus, they go on teaching acceptance. I tell you, it's unfortunate that they put people more and more into depression, conflict, and they cause so much of harm to human consciousness without even knowing. That is what Upanishad calls a blind leading a blind. When a blind leads a blind, what happens? I very sincerely request all the Western seekers, please learn spirituality from its original source. See, if you are looking for a Christian spirituality, Christian theology, then no problem. Then you learn from that theory from people who are masters of that. But if you are looking for spirituality, I really sincerely request, don't learn from people who mapped it from Hindu Dharma. I can give you hundreds of organization names. Landmark, Scientology, this integral theory. I can give you hundreds of names. We have not copyrighted, but please understand, we have locked the secrets in the language. We have not copyrighted, but we have locked the secrets in the language. So I sincerely request, especially if you are a Westerner, of course, Indians also, who are looking for spiritual knowledge, I expect Indians to be mostly, they will have some family connection to some original source, some traditional guru. So, I think they may have more possibilities to learn from the source. But let me cover them also because they are also westernized now. If you are a human being seeking, searching for spiritual knowledge, do not get diverted by the trekker gurus, the backpackers, people who try to map Hindu Dharma into the Western wordings. Even if it takes little time, energy, go to the original source and learn from original source. Because you are seeking something with which you are going to live for your whole life. If you are just dating for hit and run relationship, those trekker gurus are okay. If you are seeking is just dating for a hit and run relationship, those trekker gurus are okay. But if you are very serious about committed relationship and settling with a spiritual knowledge as your life partner, see, there are multiple various websites. For hit and run relationships, you have a separate websites. For a committed, serious, sincere marriage relationship where you want to settle down, for that separate websites are there. If you want just hit and run relationship, kind of a relationship with a spiritual knowledge, you can go to many sad gurus, trekker gurus. They teach you how to live, art. But if you want a sincere, committed relationship with the spiritual knowledge, I tell you, avoid these people who try to map Hindu Dharma into Western framework. Who try digesting the great truths. And even these people who try to map Western framework, who try to map Hindu Dharma into Western framework, I wanted to tell you guys, with a lot of concern and sincerity, I am telling you, you cannot frame it. You cannot do the framework. You cannot take Hindu Dharma and put it into a Western framework. Even if you take one small idea of Hinduism, see, like a water plants on the pond, if you pull one, the whole thing will come. Same way, if you just take one small thing, applying ash on your forehead, the whole Hinduism has to come with you. A small thing. To remove the back pain, let me do yoga. The whole Hinduism has to come with it. So you will never be able to map Hindu Dharma into Western framework. If you are doing it, you are harming yourself and the people who are following you. Just this one example. Not resisting is not equivalent to acceptance. Any man who is made to think through the English language, non-resistance means acceptance, that's all. But only if you are thinking from the beginning in Sanskrit language, you will understand non-resistance does not mean acceptance. Because we go to the ground before we plan the road. Listen, non-resistance is not acceptance. If somebody is teaching you acceptance, they are only creating more conflicts in you. Don't go to them. Acceptance is an impossible rule. I am telling you, acceptance is an impossible teaching. I am ready for an open debate with any gurus who are teaching acceptance. I am ready to debate with them. It is not teaching from Vedic tradition. Of course, they also don't claim themselves as Vedic. That's different. It is not even from the yogic tradition. Tatata, isness, does not mean you need to accept. And I tell you, you can't accept. No one can be successful in acceptance. But you can be immediately successful in non-resistance. Non-resistance is a Dhamma which does not need practice, just understanding. You are there. Dhamma means which happens in you just by understanding, which does not need special spiritual practice or special spiritual contemplation. Shravana leads to Nididhyasana is Dhamma. Non-resistance. If you are resisting poverty, if you are resisting disease, if you are resisting jail, if you are resisting death, I am not saying accept death. I am not saying accept jail. I am not saying accept poverty. I am not saying accept disease. I am just saying stop resisting. The moment you stop resisting, your whole body will go through transformation of powerfulness. Immediately, the cortisol you built in your body, the stress, fat due to stress, cholesterol due to stress will melt away in your body. Please understand. The cholesterol will melt as if it is put in the fire. Non-resistance forms the basis blockage which creates stress. That is the reason for the cortisol, the cholesterol, which is responsible. The cholesterol which comes due to stress starts getting built in your life. And I tell you, I can give this as a technique for all the big belly. No, really. All the people who are little big body, who have too much cholesterol, I give you this one technique. Stop resisting. I am not teaching acceptance. Stop resisting. suddenly the stress level in you will drastically drop. Because you need to know, the stress in you, the stress built in you is not because of your life, but because trying to finalize the whole flow of life sitting in the one room. It is like before even going to the land, they try to finalize the whole road. Same way, before even you start living, you try to have the whole picture of your life. When you stop resisting, suddenly your whole internal thinking will be free from stress, and the cholesterol will melt as if it is put in the fire. Like a ghee melts when it is poured in the lamp or the homa. Next few days I am going to dedicate to discover all these wrong translations of these people who try to map Hindu Dharma into Western framework, and the dangers they created, damage they caused. And I will also warn the Western seekers, if you are interested in Christian theology, go to Christian theology school. I am not saying no. But if you are interested in Hindu spirituality, don't go to these people who mapped it in the Western framework. Come here. Come to the source. Go to the Hindu monastery. Eat with your hand. Yoga needs eating with your hand. Live in a traditional monastery. Learn from the source. I am not against you learning in English, but learn from a man who thinks in Sanskrit. Don't learn from a person who thinks in English and speaks in English. Learn from a person who thinks in Sanskrit and speaks in English. Translates in English. Of course, sometimes he may not think in Sanskrit completely, but he knows the intricacies of the Sanskrit. If you learn from that kind of people, great. Because sometimes when I don't think at all, first of all, that is different. And if there is the words coming out, it comes out many times in English, but the cognition from which it comes out knows the intricacies of Sanskrit. Otherwise, you may miss big time. For example, if somebody is practicing acceptance for 30 years, on the 30th year suddenly he listens to this truth, acceptance is not the right thing, it is non-resistance. What will happen? How many of you are able to find the difference between acceptance and non-resistance? How the acceptance does not work and non-resistance immediately works. You can see. I have a story. An old Christian monk suddenly is weeping and wailing, coming out of the archives room where the original Bible is kept. His followers ask, why? Why are you crying? The old monk said, today I happened to look into the original manuscripts. One letter missed when we copied. The disciples asked, why are you crying for that so much? What is there to worry so much about it? It's okay, we will correct now. The monk said, no, now it is too late, I am already old. The original manuscript says, celebrate, not celibate. Contemplate on this. No resistance. But I am not asking you to accept. You may not accept. That is different. But no resistance. Sit and complete with all the resistance you carry about everything in life and decide no resistance. No resistance with you, with life, with God, with Guru, with world and with universe. That does not mean you need to accept. You need to change your strategies towards acceptance. No. Just no resistance. No resistance takes away the whole internal stress you create while you are thinking. Actually, in reality, there is not so much of resistance. But in your thinking, there is tons and tons of roadblocks you have. That only creates more and more stress. Now I can see Oman Sivagangai complete with a great, important completion session. Request all the satsangis to enrich as many lives as possible for satsang, because it will be specially, the subject will be, what is IA level 4? I will introduce Inner Awakening level 4. October, Sunday morning. Sunday morning, Indian Standard Time. Sunday morning satsang, please enrich as many lives as possible. That is Navaratri also. So, as many lives as possible, enrich on Sunday morning. We will have introduction to IA level 4. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express, radiate, share and explode in eternal bliss. Nithyananda.
Nithyananda Dhyanapitham, Nithyananda Nagar, off Mysore Road, Bidadi, Bengaluru. Phone 08027279999. www.nithyananda.org. www.youtube.com/Life Bliss Foundation.